So today I want to talk about the Bullpup kit for the AMG100. You can of course customize it all the way you like with putting a carry handle on top. I've done a few concepts, I will show some pictures how it could look like. This is with the stock barrel. You can notice when you shoulder it and you put your hand here, it's pretty close to the barrel, so you do need to take care of that. If you just use the grip and put your hand there, that you don't pass it, or since it is more compact now, use a longer barrel so you don't put your finger in front of it and hurt yourself. But you could use this grip. This will close to the shroud. Normally you will put a screw inside so it will lock in place so you don't accidentally slide it off. You could also go for more like it's a piece of the P90, you could say. Again, this was when the plastic was running out. Normally, like the P90, it will be more rounded. But in this way you got a grip like this. So you could say it's a little bit more safer for your hand if the barrel is short. But it's mostly a matter of taste, of course, if you like that. I must say, there's nothing wrong with just holding the shroud with your hands, but this way with the grip feels quite nice. So it's up to you. But of course, if you just use a regular grip, that works fine as well. If I would, if it would be my marker and I would play with it, I probably would play with it like this with a short, normal grip, and then yeah, go around like this. Is it possible to use the short P90 shrouds on the in combination with the pistol grip? Yes, but as you can see, you cannot see, my hands are, my arms are in front of it, but it gets really short. So you barely have only room for the pistol grip. So it would be kind of one-handed and you have nothing to put this hand here. So I would not really go for that look. That's the same reason I don't have made this grip for the ETA one. Because the shroud is too short, then it's only like a one-handed deal. And yeah, also with the P90 magazine that you really need to use with that one in order to make it kind of make sense. Otherwise you have a hopper in your face. It doesn't really make any sense to make that one. So that's the reason why. But as you can see, it's nice, of course, low profile like normal, but now it's more compact instead of using it like this and having it all the way forward. So I could imagine that this is really a nice way to play with it. Of course, in this setup you will use the magazines that go underneath, so the die magazines, the Planet Eclipse magazines. This is the dummy mag, so that one doesn't really release that nice, but with the normal ones they are more easy to get out. And then it's quite nice to use it, but with this one it's a bad example to demonstrate it. It's kind of, yeah, it's not nice to click it in and things like that. Practically, when you want to use the safety, you can just hold it like the way you do now and go over the top and depress the safety. You can also kind of feel where it is if you are more used to the system, or go underneath and do the same thing. I think from the top it's more easy if you have bigger hands, or you can of course just push from one side with your hands. That's also possible. There are multiple ways to use it. I just like with the P90, this trigger will activate, will push this trigger bar, and that will make it shoot. I did notice that for the Bullpup trigger, to make it in a position that these parts line up well with the end of the shroud. At least this bar needs to be a little bit bigger, that's why I did not put it inside of there. But yeah, that's basically all I can say about this platform. It's pretty basic. But what I forgot to mention is there's also an option, of course, that you put the P90 magazine on top of, let's say, with this bullpup configuration. It's kind of up to you if you want to go for the hybrid look, but it's possible. So that would look like this. It's kind of up to you if you find that acceptable or not. But then you see that the shroud will walk being a little bit longer than that. You can say, okay, then I can put my thumb on top of it, things like that. But I would not recommend doing the the P90 riser on top of it. It looks really tall and really out of place. But with the low profile one, it's doable. And of course usable, the same like with the normal setup would be, only the grip is different. So if you like this type of gripping style more, but you still want to use the P90 magazine platform, then sure, you can go for it. So if you like to use round balls in the P90 magazines, and let's say you want to switch over to first strikes in the magazines you use below, like from Die or Planet Eclipse, you can swap it over by using this big plug and just slide it in from the top. This is a prototype that doesn't really want to fit in with this one, but basically like this, you click it in place and you can use your bottom mag. Or if you kind of like the look that there's still a magazine on top, you can use a small plug. You got a little indicator that you cannot do it in a wrong way. And then install the magazine on top. This can be the paintball magazine or like from Airsoft, that's modified. And then you're able to use the magazines below without any problems. Of course, when you switch around, do this, insert this magazine, the dummy magazine first before you do the insert this magazine, otherwise all the paint will fall out straight from the bottom. But besides that, that's how it works. When this part's in, it will not fall out unless you push this part back. Then you can flip it out or use your fingers. Okay, now I will show you how to install the front grip part as part of this video. Okay, when you want to remove the grip for, let's say, transportation or something like that, just remove the two screws. Then you can slide the grip off. Of course, also make sure that this bar is no longer connected, so it kind of depends on how you do it, but it kind of wants to go off like this. It's all kind of tight fit because it's all new. Okay, now you slide it off. There is and now it's in a different color, so it's kind of nice to see. There's a plate inside. This helps that the trigger is not rubbing against the Picatinny wheel and it kind of slows down. In this case, when you pull the trigger, the springs will pop up. But what I had the last time as well, when you want to remove this plate, it kind of have a tendency to bind at the front. So it's better to take the trigger and move it upwards, so it gets a better motion to release at this point. So you take the trigger and maybe hold the back a little bit for the springs that they don't really fly out. And last time it worked. Maybe I need to fish out the springs a little bit. So that's out of the way. Yeah, now it pops up. So you see, it can help to use this and maybe some wiggling. But at the same time, once that is installed, basically you don't have to remove it. But you can see when you would remove this grip and put it in your bag like this, you most likely will have this thing pop out and you will lose the spring. So you may want to keep it attached to the wheel. All this just for a little bit, so this part cannot fly up and all the internals can fly out. But you got basically an empty chamber. Of course, to mount an AR grip, it's just some bolts you put inside from the inside of the grip with a washer. And you can basically use any type of AR grip on there, what you like, the design. So it can be 3D printed or you buy one, it's up to you. But this trigger you can just slide it in from the top. Just make sure that it moves smoothly inside when you pin it and things like that. Then use the two springs behind it. Maybe using a screwdriver or something like that to kind of compress the spring, that helps. Work them a little bit in there. So what you basically will be doing is this. You put them behind that spring, the trigger. So, and now this plate, the only function that it has is just to cover this up, and it kind of helps that the Picatinny wheel is not interfering with the trigger if it kind of moves up and catch on the ridges of that. So you push that one in and you're done. So yeah, technically you could also say, let's okay, you can glue this part so it will not you can remove this grip like this in your bag, so maybe for transport reasons or stuff like that. But at the same time, it's kind of nice that you can exit it in case there is some dirt inside or maybe the pin breaks. You can replace it really easy. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. There's only, of course, for the installation itself with the trigger bar. Make sure that the hole inside of this trigger pin is clean. In this case, there's still some support left in that pin. But what you want to do is that you want to make it possible that this pin can slide in there, the trigger bar, and and basically connect the front trigger thing with the back plate. This will be a separate video, but yeah, that's basically what you will do. And the idea is that this bar kind of needs, it shoots better if this kind of grips on the bar. So in the prototype design it was kind of nice and, let's say, tight, so it would grip automatically. It was a tight fit. When the final design was for the P90, it did not. So what I used was some super glue, and then you would say, oh, you cannot remove it anymore. I was thinking about that and I was like not totally happy about it, but what ended up happening was it will just put a layer on the metal and gives it a little bit more grip. By the time I needed to remove it, I can just slide it out, but it got just a little bit more friction and it kind of helped. This trigger will push this mechanism back by itself, so it doesn't really need any help. But it kind of helps when it's one component, one bar, less friction, less play on the system. That's the better way to say. About short routes, I just see that it's not even possible to use this route with the trigger, this trigger, because it will be sitting in the way. This part is lower, and this part needs to have the room from this height to get there for the trigger bar. But yeah, that's pretty much it about this, let's say, the normal bullpup kit. So you get a few options to the ways to use it, and you will probably imagine a lot of new options to use it. But that's in that regard, it's really flexible platform. So I'm really curious to see what you guys will do with it, and you can find the links for it below. And yeah, see you guys next time.